I want to ask about putting Kyle on the stand, because I know that was also something that when we were watching, we were like, no, don't do it, but obviously it ended up working out. The jury acquitted him. And I saw also Mark had a press release right after the verdict came in, and he talked about having a mock jurors, and he said that played much better with him testifying as opposed to not testifying. Was there any other information that you guys sort of analyzed, relied on in making that decision to put him on the stand?
Well, I mean, personal conversations that were had with Kyle about it, I really wasn't privy to. So I can't speak about, Kyle's thoughts or motivations with that. But where our position kind of came from it as well, it has to do with, again, idiosyncrasies of Wisconsin law, is with the self-defense instruction, it involves, there's the directive words is what the defendant believed was reasonable. And if it had been a different situation wherein he'd given a statement, something like that, an actual statement, perhaps we could have gotten away with that. But I'm honestly not aware of, that was something from the beginning. It was, are we even going to get this instruction if he doesn't testify? Because we don't get to go back after we close evidence. And, then it's, are we going to get the instruction or not? It depends upon what evidence we put on in trial. And it's all well and good having Joanne Fiedler and Nick Smith and Dominic Black testify what their observations were, but Kyle at the time was rightly in shock. He didn't, the little statements that he made don't really provide any basis as to what his belief was at those moments. And so we were worried we wouldn't get the instruction, if he didn't. There were times after that, so that had been something from the beginning that, we were very concerned about and was very much at play with everything was, can we even get this instruction if he doesn't testify? And it wasn't the time or the place or the case to maybe risk that.
Yeah.
Because that's when you get into malpractice type of situations. As people throw around the word malpractice all the time, well, there is a strategy for things, but that is something that, could have ultimately been a serious problem is if he hadn't done it. And with the mock jury that we did that with Joelle and Demetrius. Corey went in, gave an opening. Mark went in, gave an opening. And, at different points throughout, we were taking survey questions from these jurors. Joellen's team had everything set up very well. There were tablets and sliders and how do you feel about different things, tons of questions about everything. And there was, they first get asked questions when they're first in there, what their positions are on the case. And they get asked similar questions, at different points, and we can track their changes, things like that. And we had two sets of juries that watched Kyle testify and one set that had watched the openings, but then just watched videos during, in lieu of watching Kyle testify. And, it was one of those data things it was a night and day type of difference. And we also got to see their deliberations, things like that, their thought processes. And even in that abbreviated format where Kyle did testify in that instance, it was just so completely different between the deliberations between the groups. It was very fascinating. And the data in and of itself, something else, since you guys are attorneys, I know Mark and Corey are actually both going to be speaking at the NACTL seminar in Aspen in January, and they might be going more into this type of thing there, because they are actually, I don't know if you guys have CLEs need to do.
My reporting group comes up in February.
So, yeah, if you want to go to Aspen, you can.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, for a seminar, they will be in person talking about that. I don't know exactly. We haven't quite come up with that, but honestly, they're going to be at the seminar and be available to be spoken with. I mean, I don't know if they're doing any formal interviews, but they worked more closely with Ellen, Joel, and Demetrius in response to that. And, you know, it was a very fascinating experience. And, you know, it also allowed Kyle to, again, tell his story. And
can you say if he wanted to testify?
I those aren't discussions that I've had any part with. Those were discussions
Okay.
that were outside of what I had going on.